bring this to?
It's going to be broadcast live onto YouTube. So it stays up on YouTube, and you'll be able to share this with all of your friends, colleagues, and potential advertisers.
Fantastic. And if anybody chats, am I answering or are you?
So you'll answer. I'll read the chat out loud for you.
Very good.
So that way I'll be the voice of the people. That way you can be mad at me instead of them. So
Okay.
welcome everyone to another installment of MSP webinars. Today we are joined by Joe. I'm going to butcher it. Panone.
Panone.
Panone. I knew that. I was just making sure you're paying attention, Joe.
Thank you.
So Joe has an MSP, and his MSP found that they needed to be able to look at some metrics and KPIs to, better understand how their business is doing. So he had his development team build this really cool tool called CW Dash. Now, for those of you that are ConnectWise junkies and maybe LabTech junkies, he also has a Kaseya dashboard. But we don't have to talk about that today if we don't want to. So I'm just gonna pass it right over to you, man. Dive right in.
Thanks, Steve. I really appreciate this today. I was woke up this morning excited, thinking about this opportunity, and welcome everyone. At any point, ask any questions. I'm here in New Haven, Connecticut, where it's a rainy 45-degree day. Not too bad here in January. And yeah, like Steve said, we got ConnectWise, or they call it Manage now. Back in 2007, 2008, we got Kaseya at the same time. We're an MSP, which I started back in 93 in my father's garage. And we're also an app dev shop. And my managers came to me and said, these platforms have turned the business around. We still need to see live information, live dashboards, live business intelligence. So we created these couple of products purely for internal use. And I inadvertently showed some of my peers at HTG the next year, and they convinced me to bring it to market. I had no intention of bringing anything to market. Again, this was strictly internal use, so I put a label on it, a name, and put CW Dash out there as a paid product. Doing very, very well. About 2 years ago, vendors that we work with in the MSP said, let us advertise in it. So now we've completely changed the model. CW Dash is free with quotes. It doesn't cost anything, but you do have to fill out a survey before you download it. And when you use it, it's a Windows application. There are banners in it, but you don't pay anything for it. So it's a very different model, and it's working quite well for everyone. We're over 2,600 MSPs now worldwide using it.
Excellent. So you mentioned it has banners. What kind of banners? I watch Game of Thrones a lot. Are we talking about the Stark sigil on a banner?
That's it exactly. It's a great analogy. No, paid advertisers. I can show it to you now if you want to share my screen. I see HTG, sure, which is an advertiser. They're on there now. Just on mine, I happen to run it. If we share screen,
should be on the bottom, big green button.
Share screen. There you are. I will share it. I have some slides too we can go over if you'd like, but this is CW Dash. I think everybody can see it. It's a Windows application, very light footprint. It doesn't install a local database. It purely makes read-only calls to your SQL server, your ConnectWise server. If I go under here under dispatch and I want to see open tickets by member, so within a moment, you see a dashboard that comes up. Here are my technicians, and these are the tickets that are, these are activities that are open. You'll see that there's a banner running right up here. You'll see that there's a banner running right here in this big area here. If I open up another dashboard and I say open tickets by company, this is my live data. These are all my clients here, and these are the tickets that are open. I can drill down, of course, and see more information and actually drill right into the ticket. It'll open up the browser. But these dashboards are here. You see here's an advertiser here, here's an advertiser, and here's an advertiser. So those are the advertisements that are running in the application.
Okay. And if we just don't want to see ads, is there a way for us to make those go away?
There is $199 a month for the professional version. It does not have any new features. It does not have any features that the free version doesn't have. They're exactly the same product, one with ads, one without.
Did I hear that correctly? It's $200 a month?
$200 a month for this application without the ads. Now, whenever somebody asks me about it, I actually discourage it because we make more money giving it away than we do selling it. But correct.
And are there any other costs, onboarding, support, anything?
None at all. There's no cost at all to you. The installation is a 3-step installation. It usually takes about a minute, connects to your SQL server, makes read-only calls, never does any updates, never does any inserts. It's purely a read-only. This is real-time information. As tickets get closed, as if I do, tickets by member, open tickets, if they close a ticket while we're talking, you'll see this decrease or increase if there's new ones. You can resize this to different sizes so it fit on your monitor. You'll see that there's dashboards for operations and management and sales and finance and for many different departments in your MSP. Oh, I can't hear you, Steve. I think you're on mute. I see a mute there.
Oops.
There you go.
So it looks like we could just get a nice big 55-inch screen on the wall and connect a low power computer to it and run CW Dash and just fill the screen up with widgets.
Absolutely. Many of them do, and they not only run it on large screens so everybody can kind of see it, but they also run it on their own workstation because after all, it's free. And I run the place, so there's certain metrics I want to see all the time. But like I said, there's finance here, there's sales, there's management. So there's there's tools where you can make your own panels and your own what we call widgets that are a little smaller. So you're correct.
Someone asked if this is comparable to the business intelligence coming out with IT Boost.
I'm not familiar with that.
Okay.
IT Boost, I'm not familiar. I know that a lot of partners there's some other BI tools which are excellent, and many use CW Dash along with them because CW Dash is purely a CW Dash play. A great product like BrightGauge, for example. It's browser based and it gets many different sources from your QuickBooks, from your RMM, et cetera, and makes these great dashboards. But this is purely a ConnectWise managed play. So we find that it works very good in partnership with a lot of others, those BI products.
And I see someone else asked, are you saying ConnectWise Manage does not have this type of dashboard within the product? He doesn't know. They're not using it yet.
They have some dashboards. A couple of issues is that it's within the ConnectWise PSA. So you have to open up the application, look at the dashboards. This is completely independent, runs separately as just a Windows application, constantly runs, constantly being updated in real time. So that's what our users wanted. That's what my management wanted 10 years ago. So there are some dashboards and some metrics within the ConnectWise PSA, but we like it because it runs separately and out of it and in real time.
Someone asked if you can resize the boards. I'm pretty sure I watched you do that earlier.
Absolutely. You can make these as big and small as you want. There's these things called widgets here where it takes about 4 steps to make a widget. And this is called the done yet widget. This is my service manager's favorite status, asking the technicians, is your ticket done yet? And right now we're at 0, which is very good. So you can make as many of these as you want, move them around, shape them wherever you want on your monitor or monitors. So yes.
And I know you said real time, but realistically, how often does this refresh? Is it like every 1 second, 5 seconds?
So it uses a Microsoft technology, a SQL technology that actually takes snapshots. And when there's an update, it re-snapshots. So it's not on a timer per se. So it's
It's almost
very,
like a push notification.
yeah, it's like a notification, but it's very light. You'll notice, like I have many of these running right now. My CPU, I have a monitor running that barely gets influenced by it. So it's very light. Again, it doesn't install. There's so much flexibility here. Like I can go here on, well, let's open tickets by member. If I want to choose certain service boards, I only want to see, I have all my service boards selected, but let's say, I wanted to remove the backups and triage. I could do that. Now that information, that gets saved on a local file, a config file in the CW dash folder. That's the only thing that gets saved. No database is installed locally where it's transferring data. If I wanted to change this color scheme or change the chart configuration to, vertical versus horizontal, allows that flexibility, and those kinds of savings are there. If I close CW dash and reopen it, it'll put all the, the panels back where they were. So it remembers that.
And what kind of data do you give to your advertising partners?
We don't give them. So when you go to cw-.com, you'll notice that there is, open here, and you have to fill out a 3-page survey, which is just, how many employees, et cetera, some of your vertical markets. That's the data we share with the advertisers, what's given in the survey. All of your own data here is never taken at all. Our cloud service is merely pushing these banners onto the dashboards. It's never receiving anything. It's never pulling anything from your data. So none of your, anything about your clients, et cetera, that's stored in ConnectWise is never, ever pushed up. When you install it, there's a EULA and end user license agreement that agrees that, we never take any of that information.
Excellent. So we'll probably have more questions, but what I'd love to do is, I know you put together a slideshow. I'd love to let you have an opportunity to go through that.
Great.
And I have a feeling some of these questions might get answered.
Okay. All right. Yeah, stop me at any time. So, sure. Simple light dashboard for ConnectWise, cw-com, .com. ConnectWise is a great application. It needs real-time information. The problem with reports, by the way, all these dashboards, we call them panels, can be exported to Excel at any time. But once a report is printed, it's outdated. The need is for real-time information to measure, very different performance levels, technical, sales, hours, SLAs, ticket load, QBRs. We have a great way of working on QBRs to get all that information out of ConnectWise. The challenges, of course, is quick and easy to install, usually in less than a minute, very intuitive to use, gently touches your ConnectWise data. Usually when I walk through MSPs that are installing it for the first time, they say things like, I can't believe this is what my data looks like. They're not used to seeing their data in this way. I have a little parable that I like to give at this point where, there's two people walking in the woods, of course, and they hear a bear. So the one takes out his backpack and puts on his sneakers, and the other person says, what are you doing? Put on your sneakers. You can't outrun a bear. And to which, of course, he says, well, I don't have to outrun the bear. I have to outrun you. So are you getting the most out of your data? Are you getting the most out of all your ConnectWise data? I have some polls. I didn't talk about this with Steve at all, but if we wanted to find out if you're currently using it, if you're a prospect, product overview, there's over 50 dashboards. They're all customizable. If you have ConnectWise in the cloud, it can get to it too. There's a product called Cloud Connect, and it's, like I said, it's completely free with advertising. I don't know how many of you were at IT Nation a couple of months ago, but certainly I was there. We didn't put up a booth because it's a free product, but we don't know anybody else who's using this kind of model. of giving it free to the MSPs. Another poll, would you recommend CW Dash? Most used panels, and I can go through some of these open tickets by service boards. This is currently, as of last week, the most used panels by all the MSPs, 2,600 of them are in this order: open tickets by service board, open tickets by age, open tickets by company, timesheet by day. I don't know if any of you have a problem with your technicians putting in their time. Are you always on them? Is your dispatch always on them? Is service manager always on them? We have a solution that has certainly cured the problem in this office and in many, many MSPs that I've talked to. I could show that to you. Hours of work by member, tickets not acknowledged. How many tickets do you have out there that haven't been touched? It's just kind of slipped through the cracks. There's no resources. Nobody's touched it at all. We also have something called delinquent tickets where nobody's touched it for over 2 days, for 48 hours. So we created a separate widget for that. Look at these tickets that are just kind of that are delinquent. Other business intelligence tools, I wonder if they're using any others. Again, CW Dash works, in conjunction with a lot of those. You can't improve what you don't measure. So if I were to, I went through pretty quickly there, Steve. If there's any questions, please stop me. I do see one in the Q&A. I don't know if that's any different. Is it $200? I'm sorry.
I figured I'd ask you that one later, but yeah, they wanted to know if it's how that $200 works. Is that for unlimited text? Is that per desktop?
It's for the whole site. $200 a month for the whole site, for your whole company. Unlimited use within your company. Yeah. Yep. So we talked about timesheet by day. I encourage you to go to this and put this up, and this is the real-time information. This is the hours that these people have put in up to the 20th. So this is last week. So I remember when I put this up. By the way, this wasn't even our idea. One of the partners came up with this idea. One of the MSPs came up with this idea, and this real-time information. But I'll never forget. This has been a big monitor in our office over 2 years now. And I overheard a technician say to another technician, looks like you only put 25 minutes in yesterday. That's because I had to do the rest of your work. So it almost kind of gamifies. Yeah. So once everybody can see it, the accountability level rises. But I encourage you to go to CW Dash, download it, take a look at it. You really have nothing to lose. If you don't like it, just stop using it. Another point I want to bring out, and I talked to Steve about this, is that when we were purely selling it and the free version wasn't available, it really didn't matter to us as the creator, as a developer, whether the MSPs used it or not, because they were paying for it. But as we moved to this freemium model now, 2 years now, we want more MSPs using it so we can have more impressions and we can tell the advertisers that there's more MSPs. So we do better knowing that more MSPs have it and use it, and that pushes us to make a better product. We've released more updates in the last 2 years than we ever did before, because MSPs are constantly, there's an idea button here, where it says, how about a dashboard that does this? How about this? How about this kind of improvement? I encourage you when you get to take a look, and please, let us know how you feel, because we want to make the product better. We want to, make sure you can get the most out of it. And in the end, it helps the advertisers as well.
Now, I see you got all these multiple panels. Is it possible to just make like a single page with all these different metrics in it?
Yeah. So what you would do is they're independent windows. So, if I had, hours worked by member, I would, depending on how the monitor. So since they're independent of each other, you would measure them and shape them. This one's showing actual versus billable. So maybe you want this to be longer. Some of them you might want to be horizontal. So you would just shape these in the way, that would fit your monitor. So it's not really a page, since it's not browser based. It is a Windows app, and each one are independent windows. So it's kind of yes and no.
It's not possible to have a single window with multiple gauges or whatever you want to call these.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. These are independent windows. These are independent ones, and you get to shape them in wherever you want them. So yeah, it's not like you can kind of group all of them. It's an interesting concept to actually kind of group all of them and consider that one page. Not quite sure how we would do that, but I'd like to hear more on that. Whoever asked that, what they're.
Well, I just know that, opening these up and then shaping them and doing all that stuff, that takes a lot of time. And then Windows 10 does one of its magical, well-timed updates, reboots the computer, and now what? I got to open CW dash and reshape all this stuff again.
So when I close CW dash, it saves the position of all of those. So when I open it back up, it'll put them back where they were. See, so it moves them in, so it remembers all of that. It remembers where everything was and puts them back. So you never have to worry about that if you have to reboot or anything. It saves everything into that one config file in the CW dash folder.
Errol asked if it can be run on multiple computers. The answer is yes.
Workstation app, yep. Independent of each other, yep.
Ed wants to know if you can have multiple window layouts. Like, for example, you've got a window layout that you might use when you're in technician mode. You might have a different one that you want to have open when you're in accounts receivable mode. And I'm not asking about individual windows. I think he's asking, all right, so I've got these 9 different windows that are open. I want to close all 9 of them, but I want to save their positions and locations and use that later. And I want to save that as a preset.
That's very interesting. We don't have that ability now, but that'd be something interesting to add. So actually save everything, save your current window layout as a page, and then decide what page you want open. We've never had that asked before. Is that what you're saying, Steve?
One more time.
So you're saying you would lay a bunch of dashboards out and then save that layout in a particular name, in a particular configuration or a page. And then when you open CW Dash again, choose which page you'd like to see?
Exactly, because you might have so many different dashboard windows that you want to have open that maybe it just makes sense for you to kind of group them almost. Like, for example, as a former Autotask user, please, shots fired, I know, but just stay with me. We had different pages in our home screen of dashboards. So I had one page that was simply sales, one page that was service, one page that was accounting, and then one page that was more like an owner page where it was just a mile high overview of how the company's doing. So that'd be cool to be able to almost make like different layouts and save those as presets. Or if you could have like one main window and be able to move things around and then create tabs and go through the different tabs of different screens. That's what Errol just said. But yeah, Ed said owners wear different hats and may want to use different dashboards at different times.
Interesting. So you can use as many dashboards. Yeah, I like the idea. So you're saying if you want to do the finance, you have this set up as your technician page, save it, and then close it, and then be able to make another page that has a different set of panels open and see that. Yeah, that's very interesting. Never had that asked before, but I like the idea. I'm writing down some notes. Very good.
And then with ConnectWise, do you have a LabTech dashboard?
Not yet, but I'm able to say that we like the idea.
And then me being a Kaseya guy, I know you have a Kaseya dashboard. And I'm sure it looks identical. It just brings up different information.
Exactly right. Yeah, we just use the same engine. Now remember, we use Kaseya and ConnectWise, now called Manage. So we eat our own dog food. We use the tools internally, and then we share them with the MSPs. So yeah, absolutely.
So are there any panels or types of metrics, KPIs, whatever you want to call them, that you think a business owner should be paying attention to?
Yeah, absolutely. Now keep in mind that this data we take snapshot. It's not my live data, but what I would one of the things I keep up all the time is I want to see uh, open tickets by member. And it's already open. Now you'll see here that there's 11, 26, and 7. See, this is completely unacceptable to me. So I would go right to my dispatch, who owns this, and I would say clean the boards. We can never have a technician have more than 5 open tickets ever.
Mm.
So that's one. And if we go to the next one, which would be as a business owner, would be open tickets by company. So all the clients that are there. So if I
Holy cow, you got two clients that are either really broken or really needy.
exactly, and I could tell you right there that's now Forza's internal. Again, this isn't up. This is old data. So we do this on. But
Of
this is
course.
catch all. Yeah. So there can never be more than 5 tickets open for a client either. I mean, if a client has more than 5 open tickets, there better be a good reason. So those are some quick things right there. Just
So what made you come up with that, the number 5?
yes, it works for us. At first, when we did it, we wondered what would be acceptable and what wouldn't be. And we first started off with anything more than 1, and we just found that there are some tickets that are waiting on client. There's some tickets that are waiting on the vendor for a quote or things like that. That we found that 5 was the number for us. Now I've talked to some larger MSPs where it's a lot, where it's 10. And depending on the service boards, remember you could choose your service boards here. So some projects, of course, may go on for a long time and may have some kind of child tickets and things like that, may be a little bit more acceptable. But those are some right there. Some of the quick metrics that I look at to see what the overall ticket health is. Before I mentioned, by the way, quarterly business reviews. I just went to one yesterday, and we have something called client summary. And it used to take us um, half day to a day to prepare for a QBR or a quarterly business review, or some people call them company reviews, technical reviews. I've heard. So if I choose a client and then I choose, there's no more there. Let's go with this. Yeah. Okay. And I choose a date range for the client I met with yesterday. I wanted to go last quarter. So I went October to December, last day of December, and went next. And I wanted to see all the information in Excel. So I click finish. And you'll notice that it's populating Excel here. What it's doing is it's getting all the information for that client in that date range and dumping it to Excel. All the tickets that were involved with them, all the time, everything that was there. So within certainly less than a minute, tickets by company contact, open tickets by type, the percent closed, open tickets by service board, by tickets by member, hours worked by member, closed tickets by member, average resolution time. So all of this was bunched, and this won't be everything I need for the QBR, but it'll certainly help. It'll be a good foundation. At this point, we'd go to WebRoot, which is our antivirus, and we'd go to Umbrella to see some of the intrusions, and we're using WatchGuard for that. For the rest, go to the Dimension to see some other reports. So we kind of compile all this, but this is everything from ConnectWise. So it's a good place to start.
That is very cool. So that helps you with the QBRs. You got some basics as far as which panels you always recommend having open.
Absolutely. I could tell you another, I didn't mean to interrupt.
You're good.
I once had a technician, I don't know if anybody's had this before, but I once had a technician say to me, I closed 1,000 tickets last month. I'd like a bonus. I don't know if you ever had that happen, Steve, but so we made this, which is very similar to what we had before. I'll just put myself in. And you choose a technician, you choose a date, let's just say the last 21 days. You choose next. Again, it looks very similar to the client summary, and it's the same thing. So now it'll send all the information for that technician in that date range, every ticket they touched, everything about them, will dump it all into Excel. So the idea now is, if you're doing quarterly reviews or semi-annual reviews for your employees, you might want to just see how many tickets are closed. What's their activity in ConnectWise? What are they doing? What's their average close rate, their open tickets? I don't work a lot of tickets these days, Steve, as I'm head bottle washer. But you could see where all this information would be, germane for a technician.
So that technician that closed 1,000 tickets, did you give him his raise?
Well, we found out it was true. While he did close 1,000 tickets, a lot of them were those false positives, where Kaseya sent some tickets and they just had to be closed and they were under his name. And while he did a very good job, it certainly wasn't a true 1,000 tickets. So I did give him something that helped him out. I gave him a great gift certificate, and I appreciate his attention to this. But you don't want to squash them at any point, certainly, because he's an excellent technician, although no longer with the firm, but nothing to do with that. You want to really understand where they're coming from, and this is a good way to do it. Without this tool, I don't know how I would have found out, by the way. I don't know how in ConnectWise you could try to run some of those reports, but I don't know how I would have dug that out.
So do you have any other insights for us?
Absolutely. I could tell you about one of my partners on there in Tyler, Texas, who it used to take him, he wanted to know hours worked by each member. It used to take him, actually, I have it open right here, to put in the date range. Panel's already open. So in hours worked by member, he had a Monday morning meeting with the staff, and he needed to know how many hours they all worked with. So he would come here, choose the date range, it would update, and then he would go here and go send to Excel. And that information we then pushed right into Excel. And the 3 or 4 hours it used to take for him to collect this data was now reduced to less than a minute. So whenever I see him, he never fails to buy me a drink from what this has saved him. So we love solving those issues. Another thing is we do have finance panels. We have effective rate in there. We have gross profit by company. Now you might ask, if anybody installs CW Dash, and let's say it's a technician, we as owners don't want them to see financial information. So what we've done is, if you go to any of these panels, it'll actually ask you for your ConnectWise login. So you'll log in your ConnectWise, and then it'll check to see if your account has access to the financial reporting. If it does, it allows you to continue and see these panels. If it does not, it will not let you continue.
Very nice.
Because at this point, anybody can come here and see these, but there's no currency involved. You notice it's all hours, it's all tickets, it's all top 10 ticket by agreement, it's et cetera, it's utilizations, it's sales, a sales funnel, widgets that you can create, but there's no currency. So that's why the finance has that extra step, and that was the workaround we made. I can also tell you a great partner out of Los Angeles who actually paid ConnectWise for a custom report. And it was just hours by agreement versus billing. and they paid a lot of money for it. And so he showed it to me. He's a friend of mine, Neil, and he showed it to me, gave me the Excel spreadsheet. Within a day, we put it right into ConnectWise for everybody to use. And what was interesting about that, Steve, is that our numbers weren't the same. It would come here and our numbers would show different than ConnectWise. And so we had this kind of ongoing feud with ConnectWise, which, Neil was in the middle of who was right. And we compared formulas and it turned out that ours was correct. And the thousands of dollars he paid for that report, he ended up getting some credit back on because of the convenience. Yeah.
So what about, let's talk about how the panels look. Because, I'm a younger guy, I'm in my 30s. I'm with that whole, Web 2.0, nice, clean, modern, sleek lines. And this hurts my face.
Interesting.
This hurts my face, Joe.
Ouch.
That's the technical term. So I see right here. This already okay. So we can change it to 2D. That's good.
Change it to 2D. You could change it to transparent. You could change it to different size. You could change it, if you wanted your own kind of custom. If you want to change to a white background, if you want to change to vertical. Don't forget, this also drills down. So if I come here, I see the open tickets and I wanted to go to new, it'll actually drill all the way down. It'll show you all the 94 tickets. This is as one ticket. And I can actually click on here. It'll open up the browser. It's on my other monitor here. And it's asking me to log in. And you can actually go to the ticket. We've had this issue before where it says, we can't find the tickets that you're talking about. And so, by the way, here's the ticket in the browser. Sorry, Steve, I deviated there. So yeah, you could change the color, but you can also drill down on them.
So can we change the colors to make it look better?
It's an ambiguous term. Let's go with
My version of better.
Okay.
So let's make the background white. Oh, please not yellow. All right, and then, that's so much better already.
Yeah, remember all this gets saved. So when you close CW Dash, all the colors, all the positions all get saved. You never have to redo this.
And I know this sounds stupid, but it just already looks. Now, obviously, there's some things that we would need help with, like, now the graph lines are gone. I don't mind because I hate them. And then I see you got different chart types, and I don't understand what the palette is.
The palette is if you want to choose a particular color for the background.
It says semi-transparent right now.
Oh, the palette. Sorry, that's the actual color of the of these.
Fun. Okay. And then yeah, that's already looking better.
Yeah, play with it.
As weird as this sounds, like I used to be I want a black website and I want black this and black that, and then I got married and I can't even sit in a dark room anymore, man. I gotta have all the lights on in the house, gotta have all the blinds open. Ugh.
Yeah. I remember back in the days when we were making applications, we used to make them battleship gray. Remember that? That was the term we used. Everything was kind of gray, all the apps, the menus and everything, and that's gone away. Oh, by the way, favorites here. Like if operations, I can right click something and go add to favorites, and it comes up here to favorites. And
nice.
I think this is maybe we're going to introduce those pages that we talked about. I have to talk to my developers about that. I look forward to that.
So it looks like we have some questions, and both of them are by Sebastian. The first one is, we're not impressed with graphs and charts. Oh, that's harsh, man. Okay. We want to see new incoming tickets, including the client and details contact info. We want to see overdue tickets, including the details.
So overdue tickets, you mean, well, let's go with the first one. So you want to see new tickets. So realize that this is open tickets. As long as it's open, it's not closed, they'll appear here. By the way, there's a way to turn off completed tickets too. We could show and hide completed tickets if you didn't want to see those. We have it in our MSP where technician changes it to completed, dispatch looks it over. If it's okay, closes it. So there's an extra step. Some have it where technicians close directly, etc. So we kind of put that in there.
It sounds like he's more looking for like a grid where it's actually listing the ticket the client, almost like that screen that you can get to when you drill down.
Now there are some of these open tickets. Which one? Sebastian, I would love for you to send me sales@cw-.com or joe@forza.com. What you're looking for exactly. But there's one here. It's open tickets by company. Oops, that's already open. One of my favorites. When you drill down, it'll actually update, but I don't think that's really what he's looking for. That's only on one company. You want to see it. I have to think about that.
So, I mean, I know with the Autotask, shots fired, there's the dashboard, and basically with Autotask, it refreshes every 60 seconds. And you can create your own custom dashboard widgets. They call them widgets. And you can use graphs, charts, just really big, fancy looking numbers, or you can literally have it look like a table. And it sounds like what Sebastian is looking for is the table. So basically, it sounds like what he's looking for is almost like a cut and paste of, one or multiple service boards, where basically he can choose which columns, and then he can filter based on, status, type, customer, whatever.
Very good. Well, here's open tickets by each service board. So as new ones come in, this is triage, this is proactive. They'll appear here. I also mentioned
But he's wanting to see the actual tickets and all that.
Right. You don't want to see the graphs.
Yeah,
That's
he
interesting.
doesn't care about that part.
To switch it over to graphs. Yeah. So I wonder what exactly he'd like to see in that. Sebastian, I would love to spend 15 minutes with you to talk about that more. So you'd have a panel like this, but have a toggle where you wouldn't see the graph, but actually see the data. It's very interesting.
And he said, bingo, we'd like to see live new open tickets as they come in. So he basically wants a list. Like I said, like a table list of here are all of the tickets that have the status new. And we should be able to look up at the screen, that nice big 55-inch up on the wall, right? And see just a list of tickets, company names, ticket titles, phone number, contact, email address, like, the typical stuff that you would expect to see when you're looking at the service board as a dispatcher.
That's interesting. So actually have the service board. So we have this here, which is ticket activity, which is how many tickets were open today, how many were closed today, how many were open this week, how many were open this month. And then we have one, but again, it's not a graph, or I should say it is a graph. It's not
a table.
It's not a table per se. We generally don't have a lot of requests for tables. It's excellent feedback. And this is ticket activity that's open today, this week, this month, this quarter, this year, and then the percent closed. And if you drill down.
One that I'd like to see, Errol asked if the graphs change in real time. Yes, we answered that one earlier, Errol. Leave them open. They'll update in real time. So what I would like to see, SLAs. Are we meeting the SLAs or not? What's the percentage? Can we set some uh, preferences? Like if it's okay, let's say my SLA target is 90%. Can 90 through 100 be green and 89.999 and below be red? That kind of stuff. Can we add some logic to the tool so that way it's showing us very simply with colors, are we meeting our goals or not?
See, the thing is that I've had some requests about more SLA. We only have this one right now. We don't use SLAs here, so it's hard for us to test. So I would love the opportunity to spend some time with somebody who wants to get more out of the out of SLAs. This is the only one we have now, which is responded by resolution plan and then resolve minutes.
So I use SLAs even for my company. I'm just one person. I don't use them so that way I can show my customers, look how great I am. I use them to keep myself honest. I use them to test myself. Am I actually doing the job that I believe I should be doing?
Hmm.
And if I look at that screen and it's red, I have to have a conversation with myself as far as uh, what am I wasting my time on, or are my expectations just out of whack? So
I love the feedback. Yeah, I would love to spend time. And how are you measuring it now?
right now,
Yeah.
uh, right now I'm in a weird place because I'm transitioned from Autotask to Kaseya BMS. When I was Autotask, I just had one of those fancy home screen dashboards, and it would just look, and it would basically it was I was really just looking at first response.
I
Did I
see.
respond within 60 minutes or not? That's that's it. Did I respond to the ticket and say, hey, I got your ticket. Here's when I can get back to you with a real answer, but at least I'm acknowledging your ticket exists.
Hmm. Yeah, we have tickets not acknowledged. We have tickets that are delinquent. That's for 2 days. Uh, that's very interesting, though. I have to think about that. Right now, how we do it is um, we just have open tickets by each technician and by company up all the time. So we know, you know, if it's past that threshold, it's unacceptable. Um, so that's how we're measuring it now. But it's very interesting to actually attach it to an SLA, Steve. I'd like to talk to you more about that.
Sure. Always happy to help. Do we have any more questions, guys? From these reports, can you click and open tickets from CW Dash? I think you did that actually.
Absolutely. So here I can drill down on anyone. I don't know, I went too quick there. Let's say on this proactive, there's 4. It shows the 4 tickets here, it shows the summary description, and you'll see the ticket is hyperlinked, and it opens up the browser. Because that happens often. They say, well, I can't find these 4 tickets. Where are they? So that's why we have this drill down. All bars you can drill down on. And when I clicked it, it's on another monitor. And here's the ticket right here. So yes, you could drill all the way down to the ticket. And that's where a lot of cleanup happens. I can't tell you, Steve, how many times I've heard the following, why is there 10 tickets open with Johnny, the technician, when he hasn't been with the company for 2 years? Because these tickets get orphaned and there's no real way to find them in ConnectWise. And all of a sudden you get CW Dash and it starts showing your data in a very different fashion. And this automatic cleanup starts happening. Well, these need to be closed. This needs to be closed. This needs to be moved, change the status, etc. That's why we had the drill down for that.
Excellent. Guys, do we have any other questions for Joe? I feel like I've asked all of the questions I could think of.
Well, I'm very much available. Go to cw-.com, get it, email me. MSP emails Joe at Forza, Forza.com. Sales at cw-.com goes to some of us. Once you do fill out the survey, you'll get an email, with a link on it with the application. You'll install it. You'll get another email that has my schedule on it. Click on it, put in a time. Let's walk through it a little bit, and hopefully it can help. And I'd love, great feedback on how you think the product could be better.
Excellent. And I do see one more. I believe I heard earlier that none of the data is shared with others, but is any of the data viewed or used internally by CW- for any purpose?
No, CW- is purely a workstation level application. It does read-only calls to your SQL server, your ConnectWise SQL server. It keeps everything right there. It never sends anything up. The only reason why CW- connects to our cloud is so our cloud can push these advertisements, these banners down. But it's never the opposite direction. None of the data there on your site, on your workstation, ever goes back to us at all. Never.
And with that said, what I'm sure you've got to be able to show the advertisers something, even if it's simply, here's how many times your banner ad was viewed, in theory.
We do show that, but remember when you go to download CW-, there's about a 2-page survey, and that's the information we share with the advertiser. So we do count impressions. We're close to 11 million impressions a month. Remember, there's over 2,600 MSPs worldwide using it. We're very, very proud of its growth. We average about 30 to 40 new MSPs a month that get it and use it. So that information, as far as I showed you the most popular panels or dashboards being used, that is recorded because that's however most amount of impressions were pushed to a certain panel. So we have that. But as far as the data itself, how many tickets, who the clients are, no, we don't. We don't take any of that. We don't. It's not none. That stays with you.
Perfect. Do you have plans on any other PSAs or RMMs?
We do. We've signed some NDAs with some firms. We've created a great engine here. We're going to be moving into other platforms. Of course, with the NDA, we're not allowed to discuss. We could tell you there are things in progress, and they'll be out soon with this same model.
And are the other firms for you're working with other MSPs, or you're not saying you're working with the guys at Kaseya?
I'm working with vendors, not MSPs. So they see the success with CW- and with CAS-, the Kaseya product, and they want to build a partnership. They want us to build dashboards for their platform in this model because it helps them. I mean, this helps ConnectWise. It makes their product greater. It's an add-on to their excellent product. So other vendors are coming to us with it.
And one last question I see here. Does signing on for the free version give permissions for vendors to contact us as part of the terms of use?
Yes, your email, they will email you. You can unsubscribe when they do that. But yes, that is part of the end user license agreement as part of its, quote unquote, free. The advertisers will show their banners and they also will email you and contact you. That is part of the agreement. Of course, at any time you can unsubscribe. So, that's part of the freemium.
Gotcha. All right, Joe. Well, I think that answers all of the questions. This is a nice product, man. It looks like it's able to help a lot of people. I do wish you the best of success. And anytime you've got a new version out or anything like that and you want to show it off, you let me know. For everyone that attended today, thanks for watching. This Thursday, we're starting a 2-part series. So it's going to be Thursday and Tuesday, Tuesday of next week, that we're going to do sales role playing. So I've said it before. I do not want to do this because I'm embarrassed. But I need to do this, and I think you guys probably need to do this too. So We're gonna do this, okay? It's gonna be super. Uh, I'll go first. I'll make sure I embarrass myself first in front of everybody, and then next Thursday. What's next Thursday? Thursday we have Brian Kelly with Comprehensive MSP. He's going to come on and show us um, some of his genius. He's going to show us some best practices for using ConnectWise Automate, or what I like to call LabTech, for Windows patching. If you like what you saw today, please subscribe, and also don't be afraid to go to mspwebinars.com. There's a subscribe button there, and if you subscribe to my Patreon, that will just help me to continue creating content. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Thanks again, Joe, for coming and showing off your product. And I do hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Steve, so much. Bye, everyone. Be well.